Well, it's a nice sunny day, about 50 degrees, March in Indiana, and I have these 2 honeybee hives behind me here, and today I'm just going to kind of look inside and assess whether or not they're going to be in good shape and see what I can do to help them along. Won't be very long, and all the fruit trees will be in bloom and all the spring flowers will be popping, and I'm just going to kind of be peeking into these hives a day to make sure that they are set up and ready for that first spring flow of pollen and nectar that will be coming on soon. So before I even go into these boxes, there's a couple of things that I can view from outside to key me in on some things going on in there. You can see you can see in here I do have a lot of bees flying today, and any day that it gets into these temperatures, even into the 40s with the sunshine, and those bees will be out and they'll be making flights. Even if there's no pollen sources available for them that day, they may fly out and about just to a bathroom break, for no better word. They have to go to the bathroom just like we do, and they will not go in their own hive. So they will make a cleansing flight, and they'll go some distance away from the hive and go to the bathroom and come back to the hive. But yeah, you can see I have bees coming and going quite rapidly. I'm watching them right now because I'm thinking as late in the spring as it's even getting now, there's probably a lot of small buds on maple trees and other trees. We don't notice and don't even see the flowers most of the time, but the bees know they're there, and they are probably, I think I saw just a minute ago, I think they are hauling pollen even today, and to my eye looking around there's no flower source available. They're finding it in the tree somewhere. So that is a good sign. It tells me before I even go into that hive, the fact that they're hauling pollen means they're raising young, which means the queen that they have is at least laying eggs. When I get on in there, I'll find out whether or not those eggs are the drone eggs, which that'll tell me one thing, or whether they are the worker eggs. I really want them to be laying nice, healthy batches of workers, and I'll be able to tell when I get in there. So next step, I'll be starting my smoker, and we'll get inside these hives. Once I get this real small stuff lit real well, I'll throw in a little bit of bigger stuff. And eventually I'll put some pretty large chunks of wood. I just use wood, and then my real smoke comes from old blue jeans that are not good for wearing anymore, but that cotton fiber really makes a really nice smoke. So by putting smoke inside a hive, it accomplishes 2 things. One, it puts them in a preservation mode. They assume that their home is possibly on fire, and that they may have to leave for and find new housing. So they engorge themselves with honey, and they prepare that if they do have to go to another place, they will have carried some resources with them. So in doing that, it almost causes them to shut off their want to sting, because if they sting, they die, and they can't carry that resource to that new location. So it engorges them. They engorge themselves with honey in preparation to flight off and save themselves in another location. Also, the second thing it does, it masks the danger pheromone that another bee may release. And with that smoke in there, the other bees can't smell it if one bee gets squished or something, and that pheromone comes out. It won't alert the whole hive to attack. So I'm going to spray the entrance real well. I'm going to give them time to settle down and calm down before I enter the hive. So now that I'm in here, I'm finding things that I really want to see. I would actually like to see there be more bees in here. But I am seeing eggs and larvae and capped cells where they are growing young. And so very quickly now, they're going to be hatching out large numbers of bees to get that population up. But because they're only, right now from what I can tell, they're only in the top 2 boxes of this hive, I'm going to do them some help by removing some space right now. A smaller area is easier for them to maintain temperature in, to raise those young in. So I'm going to decrease the size of this hive, take out the parts that they're not using, and then I'll be able to give that back to them later once they need places to store honey. I'll show you what I'm talking about on this frame of bees, what I was glad to see once I opened this up. So all through this area right here, these are covered over cells with growing bees underneath. And you probably won't be able to see, I don't know if the camera will get, but in that cell right there you can see a worm. It's a growing larvae of a bee, and when it gets to the right age, they'll cap it over like they did in this area, and then it'll come out a fully grown bee. And in some of these that won't show on the camera, there are eggs where I can tell that I have a healthy queen laying eggs starting off, and she's laid those eggs. She's laid those eggs in this area here, and then on these outer edges of this frame, they have a little bit of capped honey. They have some liquid honey, and so these bees, although I'd like to see more bees on these frames, they look to be pretty healthy. So in the springtime, you'll find this a lot, that a lot of bees have died over the winter and just fallen down to the bottom board. So I'm going to do them a little help. They would normally pick up each one of these bees separately, and they'd have to clean out this hive, and they'd fly the dead bees out of the hive, clean them all out. I'm going to go ahead and clean them up for them. So by doing that work that I've just done here, I reduced the size of their house so that they can manage their egg laying and young raising. They can, everything about this spring, they can get to a better head start. They can maintain the heat in there better. They'll clean up any mess that I've made by breaking honey cells open. They'll get that cleaned up in no time. Right now I'm going to clean up these cells, or these extra frames. I want to get those put away before all these other bees start robbing and stealing. I'm going to put those in the freezer and have them to potentially give back. There's not enough really there to spin out and get a crop of honey off of them. So I'm going to freeze them. I can give them back to any wild hive that I might capture this summer or this spring, because the bees will naturally swarm to make new colonies. If I can capture them, I will have resources available for them to get them started off well. So the one thing I did find in this hive that I was kind of expecting but was hoping not to find, there are some small hive beetles in here. So by catching that early this spring, I'll be able to start doing some things to take care of those hive beetles in there, get rid of them. Already I've got bees over there on those frames, so I'm going to stop right now and take care of that and get those away from these robbing bees. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.